gbogbo ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire nílé lóko àti lẹ́yìn odi níbikíbi tá a bá wà. Pékélé arúgbó jẹ gbèsè ta ní ọ̀sán. Ọmọ Yorùbá nǹkan ti wọnú Nàìjíríà. Ó sọ Nàìjíríà di Islamic country pẹ̀lú Seria law. Ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́bí à ń pariwo fún yín. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa Sunday Adéníyì Adéyẹmọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa Emeritus Professor Bájídé. Àti win. Ẹ bá sọ ẹ sọ pé ó là ń pa. Wọ́n fẹ́ sọ Nàìjíríà di Islamic country ní. Wọ́n fẹ́ pàṣẹ Seria law. Wọ́n fẹ́ pàṣẹ Seria law. Wọ́n fẹ́ kí Seria law kó múlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Òun ló fà á. President Muslim, Vice President Muslim. Ṣé sọ fún yín? Ẹgbọ́n náà, ṣé orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà yìí ṣé Islamic country ni bí? That's me pé gbogbo Nàìjíríà pátápátá wọ́n fẹ́ sọ di ilẹ̀ Haúsá nìkan. Sọ yẹ ká gbà fún wọn. Sọ yẹ ká gbà fún wọn ọmọ Yorùbá. Tẹ́ bá ń pariwo fún yín pé Yorùbá nation ní solution fún wa. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan ká jà fún Yorùbá nation. Nàìjíríà kò so ègò gidi kan fún wa. Irọ́ ló wà bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa Sunday Adéníyì Adéyẹmọ kí wọ́n ta wá jí. Àwọn ni wọ́n ta wá jí. Àwọn ni wọ́n jẹ́ ká mọ̀ yìí pé Nàìjíríà kì í ṣe tiwa. Àwọn bìtìkó wọ́n dálẹ̀ fúnran Fúlàní ní kéésì tàwa Yorùbá. Kéésì tàwa Yorùbá tí kò bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àti gbọ́ Fúlàní dá wa láàmú. Wọ́n ń jẹ oko wa. Ìjọba Nàìjíríà kọ́ mọ́ lè rí nǹkan kan ṣe sí i. Kọ́ mọ́ lè rí nǹkan kan ṣe sí i. Tí kò bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wáyé tíjọba ò gbé ìgbésẹ̀ kankan lórí àwọn Fúlàní tí ń fi màálù tó fi ń jẹ oko wa. Wáyé tó lọ́pàá tó fi rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe ni o. Nǹkan tó fẹ́ sọ Nàìjíríà dà òun ni mo mú wá tí gbọ́ yín o. Mo fẹ́ ká fi ara balẹ̀. Ká fi ìdílé nǹkan kájọ gbọ́wọ̀ tí ń lọ ní House of Representatives. Wọ́n fẹ́ pàṣẹ bíìlì láti jọ Nàìjíríà di Islamic country. Wọ́n fẹ́ pàṣẹ bíìlì láti sọ Nàìjíríà di Seria law. Wọ́n fẹ́ ká tẹ̀lé 1999 constitution yẹn mọ́. Ọmọ Yorùbá. Ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire. Àṣírí wọn ti tú o. Àṣírí wọn ti tú. Wọ́n pàṣẹ ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Ìròyìn yàdó òun ni mo mú wá fún yín o. Ẹ bá mi pín ètò yìí kó lọ dáadáa. Kó lọ bá akẹrin tó yẹ kọ́kànlá. Ẹ bá wa pín ètò yìí kó lọ fà á. Kó lọ ka àwọn tí ń balẹ̀ Yorùbá jẹ́ kí wọ́n fẹ́ ká. Àwọn aláàlújẹ wọ́n jẹ́ àjẹ Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n fẹ́ kí wọ́n bọ́ lóko ẹrú. Ẹ bá wa pètò ìkọlọ bá wọn lọ́kàn á gbọ́ nǹkan tí ń lọ ní House of Representatives. Ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ má jẹ́ ká lajú wa kalẹ̀. Kájà fómìnira tiwa gangan òun la fi lè rí ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀. Kájà fómìnira tiwa gangan. Kí ló rí wa kí ló ń ṣe wá? Ẹ̀yin àgbààgbà ẹ má tà fáwọn Fúlàní yìí mọ́. Ẹ má tà fáwọn Ìgbò yìí mọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ káwọn náà ká jà foríṣu tí. inú ẹrú òun la wà, ẹ jẹ́ ká gbà lẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ wọn, òun la fi ń pariwo lóru ẹ̀ṣẹ̀, òun la fi ń pariwo orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá, òun la fẹ́ tó bá ń pa nígbà ìdáná ẹsẹ̀ ń pa tá a sọ wípé wọ́n fẹ́ sọ Nàìjíríà di Islamic country ní tẹ́ ẹ sọ wípé wọ́n là ń pa ṣé ẹ ti wáyé ní ìsìn ẹ jẹ́ ká fìdí kan ẹ mọ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ yá.
Criminal code for those states. It is because it's peculiar to them as a people and as a presence. By the time we begin, and what happens to our grand norm that is supposed to be the foundation of our existence? Mr. Speaker, Nigeria has never limited anybody that is supposed to be the foundation of our existence. Mr. Speaker, Nigeria has never limited anybody from practicing his religion. You go to states like in the north, where you have Sharia being practiced as the criminal code for those states. It is because it's peculiar to them as a people.
In this nature, I believe when it is.
Mr. Speaker, our
ọmọ Yorùbá, ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire, gbogbo ìran ọmọ adúláwọ̀, mo fẹ́ kí a farabalẹ̀ ká fi ìdílé nǹkan kájọ gbọ́rọ̀ tí ń lọ ní House of Representatives lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo mú wá náà ni o, kóníkálùkù ká mọ jọ́ọ̀jẹ̀ fúnra wa. Ṣé ìlú tá a fẹ́ wà náà ní? Ṣé ìlú tí ẹ fẹ́ kí a jọ wà náà ni? Ẹ máa gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n ń sọ o, mo fẹ́ kí ẹ fi tí a yín gbọ́ nǹkan tí wọ́n ń sọ o.
Our constitution allows for freedom of worship of all religions. Mr. Speaker, we would not sit in this hollow chamber and restrict ourselves to just a few. If we begin to put such components into the constitution, tomorrow the ecclesiastical faction comes up. The day after, the traditional faction comes up. The day after, all other components begin to come up. And what happens to our grand norm that is supposed to be the foundation of our existence? Mr. Speaker, Nigeria has never limited anybody from practicing his religion. You go to states like in the north, where you have Sharia being practiced as the criminal code of those states. It is because it's peculiar to them as a people and as a persons. By the time we begin to expand it and bring it into our constitution, we are not an Islamic state. We're a secular state. We're not a celestial state. We're a secular state. We are not a traditional worship state. We're a secular state that respects and gives everybody a sense of belonging. We're a nation. We need to be sensitive to the mood and the existence, freedom of speech, freedom of association, to live in happiness, not a scenario whereby there could be some misconceptions. To this end, I wish to crave the indulgence of the sponsor of this bill that he steps it down for more legislative input, which
abegbo ó kọ́lá mọ̀ pé religion mẹ́ta ló wà Nàìjíríà: Islamic, Christian, traditional religion. Kí ló wá dé put àwa méjì táwa bẹ́ẹ̀ put wa side Nigeria di Islamic state tó yẹ kó rí secular state ní Nigeria secular state ó ní Nigeria kò sí ẹni tá a lè ṣe. Kí ló dé ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ jẹ́ ká jí lójú oorun wa ẹ jẹ́ ká jí lójú oorun wa. Àwọn pípù yìí wọn ò fẹ́ràn wa. Àwọn pípù yìí wọn ò fẹ́ràn wa. Wọ́n fẹ́ fi ọgbọ́n gbalẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ wa ni. Wọ́n fẹ́ sọ wá di ìran Lárúbáwá pẹ̀lú agídí ni. Ẹ má lè ká gbà fún wọn. Làfi ń sọ wípé ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan ká jà forílẹ̀-èdè wa. Ká bá wa lẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ Nàìjíríà torí pé inú oko ẹrú Nàìjíríà wà. Tí a bá ti fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan ká kó lábẹ́ Nàìjíríà ká dá dúró, a lè rí ara wa. Àǹfààní tí Elédùmarè jogún fún wa lè káàárọ̀ oòjíire kò ní wúlò fún wa. Òun la fi ń pariwo wípé ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan ká jà fún Yorùbá nation. Yorùbá nation òun nìkan ní ọ̀nà àbáyọ fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire. Ẹ má jẹ́ pápá fún wa mọ́. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ó máa lè tẹ́ ẹ wà nídìí ìbàjẹ́, tẹ́ ẹ ń torí ìjẹkújẹ, tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ tà wá sóko ẹrú Nàìjíríà. Ẹ̀yin nu Ọlọ́run nu. Ẹ̀yin nu Elédùmarè tó dálẹ̀ Yorùbá òun nìyẹn. Ìjìyà tó bá tọ́ sí fún yín, tó bá tọ́ fún yín yóò fi yín jẹ. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ tá kàn bẹ̀ yín ni wípé ẹ fi àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ wa ń dá sí tí ẹ fi ń pa wá táwọn oúnjẹ jẹ tí mo kàn di ọ̀wọ́n gógó. Ẹ fi wá lọ́rùn sílẹ̀. Ẹ fi wá lọ́rùn sílẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbégbé àlàáfíà. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbégbé ọ̀run. Ẹ jẹ́ kí ó rárí ògo wa lò. Ẹ má paná ògo wa mọ́. Kí ló dé? Torí ìjẹkújẹ tẹ́yin jẹ nínú wa Nàìjíríà. Ẹ wá rí wípé ìyà ń jẹ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá. Ẹ rí wípé inú ìlà ìlò òun la wà. Kò sí lọ́kàn yín. Torí ìjẹkújẹ tẹ́ ń jẹ. Ẹ sì bẹ̀rù Elédùmarè. Ẹ bẹ̀rù àwọn alálẹ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ẹ bẹ̀rù wọn. Ẹ bẹ̀rù àdúbọ̀tán. Àdúbọ̀tán ẹ̀dá ló ṣe kókó. Gbogbo èyíkówù tí ẹ̀dá bá ṣe ń lé ayé yìí kọ́rọ́ jẹ́ àdúbọ̀tán. Ẹ ti ń fi ìyà jẹ àwọn mẹ̀kúnnù. Ẹ ti ń fi ìyà jẹ wọ́n jù. Èyí iná ẹ fún wọn. Èyí omi ẹ fún wọn. Oúnjẹ tí ó ti ṣe wọ́n láǹfààní nínú ara ẹ tún fi ń dùn wọ́n. Epo pẹtiró tí ó ṣe wọ́n láǹfààní láti lọ ibi tó bá wù wọ́n ẹ tún fi ń jẹ wọ́n níyà. Kí ló dé? Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan? Àṣìlúyà ọmọ Yorùbá. Gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ ń wò mí nílé, àṣìlúyà. Àwọn olórí ibú olórí yìí àwọn láṣìyàn. Àwọn láṣìyàn sípò. A sì fẹ́ wọn nípò mọ́. A fẹ́ kí wọ́n ti jọba lé wa lórí mọ́. Orílẹ̀-èdè tiwa gangan òun la fẹ́. Ìlú tí ò tó wa tí wọ́n tó population wa wọ́n ń dá dúró wọ́n ń dá ṣe ìjọba wọn fó ṣe wù wọ́n ápẹ́lẹ̀ tà sí àwọn ará Yorùbá tá over 60 million ètí rí táwọn lè dá dúró ẹ jẹ́ ká lè máa gbọ́ nǹkan tí ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ ní àtọ̀ assembly tó ilé gangan ni èdè mo wá etí gbọ́ yín ẹ jẹ́ ká lè máa gbọ́ lọ wẹ̀ ẹ́ tẹ̀ wò mí ẹ dákun bá mi pín ètò yìí o ẹ bá mi pín ètò kọ́ lọ dáadáa o mo bẹ̀ yín mọ̀ wọ̀nyí ni gbogbo ẹ̀ lólùfẹ́ BMI TV ẹ bá mi pín ètò yìí kọ́ lọ dáadáa ìmọ̀ yín náà ni mo lólùfẹ́ yín ni o ẹ fi ìfẹ́ hàn sí mi ìran mi ló jẹ mí lógún torí mi ò dùn bí wọ́n sì fìyà jẹ ìran Yorùbá inú mi ò dùn pẹ̀lú gbogbo kan ní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ sí wàlẹ̀ káàrọ̀ òjíire òun ni èmi náà fi dìde pèsè àwọn tí ń jà fún Yorùbá nation yìí èmi náà ní láti sọ́pọ́ọ̀tì wọn ọ̀nà tí mo lè gbà tí mo fi lè sọ́pọ́ọ̀tì wọn òun náà lèmi náà ń gbà yìí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá pín ètò yìí tó bá lọ fà ọ̀nà tẹ́yin náà lè gbà tẹ́ fi lè pass méjèèjì tá a bá mú wá etí ìgbọ́ yìí òun náà ní pé tẹ́ bá pín ètò yìí kó lọ dáadáa kó lọ kà àwọn tó yẹ kọ́kànlá kó lè bá mọ̀ pé ara ń kan wá ìyà ń jẹ wá àfẹ́ ní nǹkan tí gbogbo Nàìjíríà mọ́.
Consultation which would be more in tune with our beliefs and the norms, but I do not believe it is a legislation that should pass for second reading. I so submit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues.
Ẹ̀yàn mi, ṣé ẹ gbọ́ ẹni tó kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ láàkọ́, ṣé ẹ gbọ́ ìjàtọ̀jà, òun ò sọ́pọ̀tì Sharia law, kò sọ́pọ̀tì Sharia law, ọ̀yàn náà, àmọ́ ẹgbọ́n nǹkan táwọn ṣàfẹ́ sọ, nǹkan táwọn mọ̀ pé olórí bú làwọn pípù yìí. Ẹranko ni wọ́n tó yí báńkì lásán lásán ló fi fẹ́ sọ Nàìjíríà fún wọ́n fẹ́ sọ di Islamic State wọ́n fẹ́ wọ́n post Sharia law lé alórí torí báńkì ẹgbọ́n tó fẹ́ sọ ẹgbọ́n táwọn ṣàfẹ́ sọ Fúlàní àbáwọ́sá ti ẹgbọ́n tó fẹ́ sọ.
I want to comment as the second to the last speaker spoke. In fact, the bill that was moved by the sponsor, we are supposed to commend him. I agree Nigeria is a secular state where we have different opinions, traditions.
Also, wípé òun àgbì pé Nigeria is a secular state. Ẹgbọ́n tẹ́tẹ̀ tó make mẹ́yẹ. Gbogbo àwọn tó tọ̀ síwájú ọkọ̀ mẹ́tì wọn. Òun náà wá sọ wípé òun ẹ̀kọ́ mẹ́tì pé Nigeria is a secular state. Ẹ wá gbọ́ nǹkan tí ó sọ o. Ẹ̀yàn mi tẹ́ wò mí nílé. Ẹ gbọ́ nǹkan tí ó sọ jáde lẹ́nu.
Religion and what have you. But if you see this motion or this bill, it will help Nigerians to know that these commercial banks, especially Taj Bank and what have you, many people have perceived that these banks are specifically for Muslim, while it is not. So by expanding this nature, I believe when it is encompasses to everybody, many people will see the benefit of this bill, and I believe in a near future, many people will see that the mover put this in a right direction. Thank you very much.
Honorable Kuye. I rise to add my voice to this all-important motion for a bill to amend our constitution with respect to the expansion of the description of Islamic law. Let me start by saying that the constitution mandates our government that they shall not adopt any religion as a state religion, meaning that Nigeria is a secular state. Number two is the fact that Section 38 is very clear as to the rights given to all Nigerians in terms of choice of religion and how they worship. Section 2 goes further to say that Nigeria is a federation consisting of the federal government and then the state governments, giving the states the liberality they want to use their people. That's why we have some states, this law and all of that. They are permitted to do it, State House of Assembly. But the Constitution, as the ground norm that governs all of us, the traditional institutions, the Obas in the Yoruba land, the Igwe in the east, the Shekiri, the Fulanis, the Hausas, gives us only one right, the right to choose whichever one we want. We can therefore not allow this constitution to become so filled with frivolities that is supposed to be the mandate of the state. We have all been clamoring for full federalism. Give more power to the state to do it the way they want, to do it in the way of the culture of their people. And that's why I will want to implore the mover of this motion to please allow us to please step down this amendment for the time being, so that we can deliberate more on it. Because of course, from the way I see it, it's such that the state should be considering, not here. The problem of religious war, we started as far back as 1938 in this country. Let it not start here again. Let it not be that it is this house that is going to put fuel to the very fragile democracy, to the very fragile situation, the unity between us. It's very important. As we are talking now, people are hearing us. People are seeing us, thinking that we want to promote one religion over the other. I therefore pray that we step this down for the time being. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Of an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to review the description of Islamic law in the Constitution as related matters, HB 1502. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tí bàbá yìí sọ yìí? To review Islamic law into Nigeria. Ṣé ẹ ti rí? Wọ́n fẹ́ pàṣẹ ni o. Wọ́n dìbẹ́tì ọ̀rọ̀ náà ní House of Representatives ni o. Ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ má jẹ́ ká wò wá ká bọ́ra wá hàn o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká dìde ká jà fẹ́tọ́ wa. Yorùbá nation ló lè ṣe. Wọ́n fẹ́ sọ Nàìjíríà di Islam country ni o. Wọ́n fẹ́ impose Sharia law. Wọ́n fẹ́ impose lé alórí ni o. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká gbà fún wọn o. Olórí ibú làwọn pípù yìí o. Wọn ò fẹ́ràn wa o. Wọ́n fẹ́ balẹ̀ wa lọ́wọ́ wa ni o. Àwa ni ká má gbà fún wọn o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ọwọ́ sọ́wọ́ pẹ̀lú bàbá wa Sunday Adéníyì Adéyẹmọ. Ìgbòho Òòṣà. Ó bàbá Dámì. Ẹkùn ọkọ Fúlàní. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ọwọ́ sọ́wọ́ pẹ̀lú bàbá wa Emeritus Professor Banji Akíntóyè. Ká fi ìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan pẹ̀lú wọn. Nàìjíríà kì í ṣe ìlú oko ẹrú ni. Ìlú amúnisìn ni. Kì í ṣe ìlú tí a lè fi ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ gbé bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́. Ìlú amúnisìn ni. Kò sí ojúmọ́ kan kílẹ̀ mọ́ mọ́ tẹ́ni gbọ́ ìròyìn burúkú lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà. Kò sí. Kí ló dé? Kí ló dé? Gbogbo ẹ̀yin bàbá wa tẹ̀yin màmá wa, à ń bẹ̀ yín ni àwọn yín ni ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan. Yorùbá nation ó nìkan ṣoṣo ní ọ̀nà àbáyọ sí gbogbo nǹkan tí ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wa. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ẹ mọ̀ gbọ́ lọ.
Any second? Yes, sir. Kwakwansia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
My name is Honorable Hassan Sheikh Hussein.
Distinguished colleagues, briefly, as the Speaker requested, the 1999 Constitution, as amended. Okay, the 1999 Constitution.
ìdádúró gbọ́ ta ló ká mú àwọn èèyàn wa òun lẹ̀ ń gbọ́ yìí o àwọn olórí ibú wọn fẹ́ sọ Nàìjíríà di Islamic State wọ́n fẹ́ pàṣẹ Sharia law lé alórí kí ló kàn pẹ̀lú Sharia law kí ló kàn wá ìran Yorùbá pẹ̀lú Sharia law àdúrà ní ká mọ̀ ṣe ń bàbá wa Sunday Adéníyì Adéyẹmọ àti bàbá wa Emeritus Professor Banji Akíntóyè tí wọ́n ká mọ̀ yìí pé Nàìjíríà kì í ṣe ìlú Nàìjíríà kì í ṣe ìlú tá a lè fi ìfọkànbalẹ̀ gbé. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká torí pé bàbá Tinubu ti wà ń bẹ̀ ní ìsìn láwa afọwọ́lẹ́rán láwa níjàfẹ́tọ̀ wa mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Bàbá Tinubu náà ti sọ wọ́n ti sọ rí ní 1997 wípé àwọn ò believe in one Nàìjíríà ẹ lọ ka newspaper tí wọ́n ti sọ. Àwọn ìdíkò nífẹ̀ẹ́ làwọn sọ rí wípé àwọn ò believe in one Nàìjíríà. Kè wá ṣèṣì nígbà tí ẹnu wọn ti wá jẹ dòdò wọn wá lè sòdodo mọ́ nígbà tí wọ́n ti wá rí owó tí wọ́n ti rí owó Nàìjíríà kó sápò kó sí gbogbo ẹ̀ ní ìsìn ni wọ́n fẹ́ kí ìran Yorùbá kó lóko ẹrú mọ́. It's a shame. It's a shame. Kí ló dé ẹ fọlọ́wùlẹ̀ ẹ fi ìran Yorùbá lọ́wùlẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ká gbégbé àlàáfíà. Ẹ jẹ́ kó ilé wa la wà ẹ má jẹ́ káwọn àtọ̀rìn wa kan kí wọ́n fi ẹ̀dẹ̀ẹ̀dẹ̀ kan lẹ́wà lára mọ́ àkíyèsí nǹkan náà ságídí ni àgbó èdè ara wa àgbó èdè ara wa èmi ò gbọ́ Haúsá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mi ò gbọ́ Ìgbò sọ fún èèyàn mi àbí ọ̀yẹ́ Yorùbá ni mo rí ni kí ló wá dé pẹ̀lú ìṣẹ̀ wa a lè dá dúró. Wọ́n tún ẹlẹ́tàn ní àwọn ìgò tí wọ́n ń pa àbájáde ọkàn wọn balẹ̀ agbègbè àlàáfíà. Agbègbè àlàáfíà kódà ọkàn wọn balẹ̀ gan ni gbogbo nǹkan tá a nílẹ̀ Yorùbá yóò tó wá pín bàbá wọn àfọwúkẹ́ wọn ti ṣe rí náà nígbà tí wọ́n ṣe promise alẹ́ alórí púpọ̀ láfojú nǹkan tí wọ́n ṣe nǹkan ribiribi tí wọ́n ṣe Yorùbá abẹ́ẹ̀rí ni gbogbo ẹ̀yà àgbààgbà tẹ́ ẹ̀ wá ń jà fún wa Nàìjíríà lónìí ṣebí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ bàbá wa. Ṣebí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ bàbá wọn lọ́wọ́ tí bàbá lọ́wọ́ dálẹ̀ tí wọ́n ṣe láti wọ́n ṣe mínísítà ṣebí ibẹ̀ ni bàbá gbogbo yìí lọ àbí èṣe ni kí ló dé ilé Yorùbá kí ló dé yẹ.
As amended, Mr. Speaker, provide for a personal Islamic law in the Constitution. The Constitution did not envisage the dynamism. The Constitution did not recognize that the Islamic commercial law, Islamic company law, Islamic international law, Islamic public laws. In 2003, Mr. Speaker, Taj Bank came up under the commercial Islamic law. In 2019,
ó wà lára táwọn afọ náà ń ṣeré alórí ó wà lára àkọ́ táwọn pásọ náà ń ṣeré alórí wọ́n wá sọ gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà ọmọ Yorùbá wọ́n sọ wá di mugun wọ́n wá ń gbá wa wọ́n wá rí wa jẹ iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n sì rán wọn ni wọ́n jẹ́ fún wa. Wọn ò fẹ́ ká gbègbè àlàáfíà. Wọn ò fẹ́ ká gbègbè ìrọ̀rùn. Òun ló fi ṣe gbogbo ilé tó ń ṣe yìí. Sọ wá dáa ká wá lajú wa sílẹ̀. Tí kálùbọ̀ wa kó wá kó wọ̀ tó yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣá. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́, ọ̀rọ̀ kan yìí o, ẹ jà fẹ́tọ̀ọ́ yín. Àwọn àgbààgbà yìí olórí ibú ni wọ́n wọ́n ṣe ní àjírí, ẹni àjíkò ni wọ́n. Wọ́n ò fẹ́ràn àwọn ọ̀dọ́, wọ́n fẹ́ ká ìwọ́ bàjẹ́ ni. Àwọn gangan ni ká dìde, ká jà fẹ́tọ̀ọ́ wa. Àwọn ti bá débì kan, wọ́n ti súnmọ́ kòtò. Àwa nìyà ẹ̀ tí ì jẹ, àwọn alákàwé dà ní iṣẹ́. Nígbà tá a bá kàwé tán, tá a kàwé tá a ṣe wàhálà tá a ṣe everything, àwa kàwé tán àti wá iṣẹ́ yóò tún wá di ogun nínú Nàìjíríà yẹn náà ni. Sọ ẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ wá fọwọ́lẹ̀ wá ń wòran. Ẹnìkan wá dìde fún wa pé ó tó gẹ́ ìyà tẹ́ fi jẹ ràn mí, ó tó gẹ́ ẹ má fi ìyà jẹ ràn mí mọ́, ẹ fi ràn mí lọ́rùn sílẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n gbé àlàáfíà. Àwọn bàbá tó wà lórí diaspora tó wà lókè òkun, ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n fi ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ tó fi wálé. Ẹ̀rù ń bá wọn láti wálé torí ogun ajínigbé ti pọ̀ jù. Ogun wọn pa wá ó ti pọ̀ jù. Wọn ò lè káwọn bàbá wa rí oko dá mọ́, ó jẹ́ di ọ̀wọ́n gógó lórílẹ̀ wa. Kí ló dé? Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan?
Another bank came up under the commercial law. That means the Jaiz Bank, not the Taj Bank. The Jaiz Bank was in 2004. The Taj Bank came in 2019. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you look at the personal law, it only encompasses marriage, divorce, and the inheritance. Therefore, what I'm requiring is the removal of the removal of personal in section 24 of the Constitution, section 262, section 277, and section 288, so that other relevant laws like the the commercial law, Islamic commercial law, the Islamic company law, the Islamic international law can have a place in the Constitution. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is what I want the honorable colleagues to support so that this amendment can be done. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mr. Wiskodin, I think, is in the right direction to give a back off for the commercials and other laws that already we are practicing without proper backing, particularly in our Islamic-related financial institution of not only limited to Taj Bank or Jaiz Bank, but there are several banks that are now practicing, particularly the Mudahara and the other sharing formulas. I think this is a very welcome development that it will give even an economic leeway for the nation to see the goodness of such practices in our financial institution to get the back-off of the law. I do support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Solomon, please. Solomon Bob, from the great state of Rivers. This matter, I think, it will be dealt with in better technical detail at the committee level for constitutional review, because there's so much to say about this kind of okay, I'm sorry, I was told you were not listening to me. I'm saying that this bill will not deal in broader technical detail at the level of committee for constitutional review. But straight off, the section you're referring to, if it is removed, word personal is removed, the implication immediately is that Islamic law will now have a general application with respect to criminal law across the country. The word personal there was put for a purpose. So if you remove it, that's the implication. It will have great consequences. So we can look at the details of what he's trying to do, what he's trying to achieve, and advise at the committee level. The regulations deal with those as considered act and all of them. So the matters that the banks can deal with, they don't have to incorporate, or attract or drag interest with respect to commercial ambitions to the Constitution. So essentially, Mr. Speaker, the committee on constitutional review, where we can sit down and then look at, it to a T in every way. Thank you.
Thank you for making it brief. I like the federal constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I want to, with respect, differ from the mover of the bill on the need for us to amend the Nigerian Constitution in this particular instance. I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, because as students of history, we all know the issues surrounding the particular section in reference, especially at the various constituent assemblies leading to the 1979 Constitution, the 1989 Constitution that was not promulgated, and now the 1999 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, the drafters of the Nigerian Constitution are very conscious of the secularity of the Nigerian nation, and also very conscious of the sensitive nature of religion. And I remember the 1976 Constituent Assembly, the 1979 Constitution, was very, very contentious on this matter until the then federal military government came in to stop further debate on this matter and took a decision that the application of Islamic laws will only be constrained to personal matters, which has to do with administration of estate and some other issues. Mr. Speaker, we have to be very, very cautious of whatever we do to alter the Nigerian Constitution in a manner that will further widen the divide that we have as a country. And in any case, Mr. Speaker, like my previous colleague said, the matters which my colleague seek to address by this proposal is already covered by existing laws. The Kama law, covers regulation on issue of finances and allows for its application of Islamic principles of financial transaction. The same thing with the CBN Act, like you rightly said. And the moment we allow the Constitution to be altered to take care of all manner of interests, we will no longer be in the state where the sanctity of the Constitution is respected, and the intent of the drafters of the Nigerian Constitution via or as regards to the secular nature of the Nigerian nation might be threatened if we allow this to go on. Mr. Speaker, I sincerely think that this bill should not pass on for the second reading. For these reasons I've adduced. Thank you.
Thank you. Abdul Hakim Kamilo Ado, representing Udilgarko Federal Constituency, Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I would like to make it brief to say that while being cautious, but we have to consider, and considering also the divisions we have in this country, we have to consider the ethics, the values, and the interest of the masses. Because we are here in this hollow chamber to represent Nigerians, and also not to make a religion or a tribe or a community, not to constrain them from practicing something which is their way of life. We all know that Nigeria comprises of so many religions and also tribes and communities. But these religious matters, we consider it as a way of life, not just a mere religion. So, considering the ethics and the values and the interest of the masses, not looking at the division or being cautious of what this will cause, Mr. Speaker, I think this bill is supposed to pass for the second reading. In my opinion, Mr. Speaker, we need to commend the Honorable Misau for coming up with this bill in order to unite and to create a room.
Ìwọ ni wọ́n ń pa o, ọmọ Yorùbá tí ẹ gbọ́ kan tẹ́lẹ̀ náà sọ. Gbogbo wọn ó kan náà ni wọn olórí ibú ni wọ́n. Ẹ jẹ́ ká pa wọn síta, ẹ má jẹ́ ká tí wọ́n pass bíìlì second hand o. Ọmọ Yorùbá, ẹ jẹ́ ká pa wọn síta, Yorùbá nation ká jà fún o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ jà fún Yorùbá nation. Self determination kì í ṣe crime o. Kì í ṣe crime o. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́? Abẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tó ń sọ. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ bí ìdúró pàṣì lé wa lórí? Àwọn House of Representatives ni wọ́n o. Àwọn ilé olórí ibú ni wọ́n ò fẹ́ràn ọmọ Nàìjíríà o. Ìkà ni wọ́n o. Ẹ mọ̀ ìka gbà fún wọn o.
Free room or an interest for people that are practicing Islamic religion to practice their religion freely and to consider some way of life which comprises so many things. Talk less of the commercial that he talked about. There are so many things we need to consider.
Say Islam religion nìkan ló wà Nàìjíríà ni. Say Islam religion nìkan ló wà Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n pass Sharia law lé wa lórí. Àwọn tí ṣe kìsẹ́sì ńkọ́, àbáwọn tí ṣe ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ńkọ́. Ṣé àwọn bíbí olóyìn ibú ni wọ́n Nàìjíríà ṣe ìlú àdàràdà ní ìlú burúkú Nàìjíríà. Ìlú ẹ̀tànjẹ Nàìjíríà. Ọmọ Yorùbá, ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan ká jáde nínú Nàìjíríà. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jà fẹ́tọ̀ wa.
In order to encompass it under this bill, if at all we are considering this bill to be passed via the committee, then, Mr. Speaker, as you said earlier, that we are here as parliamentarians in order to pass bills and it doesn't have to go through the committee. So we can pass it and then later on the committee can consider what they can do about the bill. But we are here to debate it and we are debating it. So let us go on with the debate and later on consider what we can go with in this hollow chamber. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Speaker.
My name is Honorable Isan, representing Ankara Tomofra constituency. I'm from Zamfara State. My Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I don't want to dwell on issues already spoke by the Speaker. No other is my mind. But the other speaker, the last but one, talked about karma. Karma is already embedded in the constitutions. Therefore, it takes care of other commercial laws. And I think we need to understand the subject matter of this bill. The bill is calling for description of Islamic law. In other words, the bill is seeking the House to define, because of the existing situations now, looking at the issue of like hierarchy being embedded that have not been taken care into the Constitution. I think it's a straightforward bill. It's not, he is not calling the fact that, he's not calling for expunging the existing Sharia law, but rather to define it in order to encompass all those, existing situations that have just come up. That is my contribution, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's not talking about Sharia law. He's talking about the Constitution. of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, so that we get it right. His bill is about the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the Sharia law. Okay, Jonathan, please, let's hear you.
My name is Honorable Said Musa Abdullahi. I represent the people of Bida, Bako, Kacha Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Niger State. Mr. Speaker, I think we need not lose sight of what the proposer of the bill intends to achieve. I understand how sensitive matters related to religion are, especially in this country. But the fact of the matter is, we cannot treat religion issues in isolation. There are issues that we must bring to the front burner and discuss, irrespective of how sensitive they are. I didn't want to stand, but argument, you could see the sensitivity that is driving the sentiment that is driving the argument. But if we focus,
Honorable Ali, approach the chair.
If we focus on what the bill intends to achieve,
Honorable, approach the chair.
The bill intends to review the description of Islamic law, which means it's already enshrined in the Constitution. What it seeks to achieve is to review the description. So it's already in the Constitution. I don't understand why we will see it as something that will lead to snowball into a crisis or what have you. This is what we have done that over the years that has led us to not make progress on certain issues. It doesn't matter how sensitive these issues are. We must be able to debate them. This is what our people sent us here to do. You know, if we run away from discussing a problem, if we assume it to be a problem, and we're running away from discussing it, how will you provide a solution to it? I will agree and accept the fact that there is need for further, broader consultation. But for us to run away from the problem, for us to drop it and say it's not an issue to be discussed on this floor, I don't think it's something that is acceptable. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
ẹ bá wa pé ètò yìí dákun gbogbo ẹ̀ tẹ̀ wù mí nílé ẹ bá wa pé ètò kọ́ lọ dáadáa ẹ fi ẹ tẹ́ káwé lọ jàǹfààní ẹ tá a mú wá ẹ kọ́ orí ètò ẹ tẹ́ káwé lómi náà jàǹfààní kí wọ́n wá gbọ́ nǹkan tí ń lọ àrà táwọn House of Representatives tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe Sharia law tí wọ́n fẹ́ pàṣẹ lé wa lórí ṣé káwọn èèyàn náà wá gbọ́ ẹ bá wa pín abẹ́yìn ní àrọ̀ yìí ni ẹ wá dẹ́kun wà nílé abẹ́yìn ní àrọ̀ yìí ni ẹ bá wa pín ètò yìí ẹ bá wa lọ́ọ̀fẹ́ bá wa láìkí ẹ mọ̀ wò wá hàn gbogbo ẹ lólùfẹ́ BMI TV show ẹ mọ̀ dáadáa mi o ẹ jẹ́ ti gbọ́ dákun ẹ ká jọ wò ẹ bá wa pín ẹ bá wa lọ́ọ̀fẹ́ ẹ bá wa láìkí ẹ jẹ́ kó lọ dáadáa ẹ ṣíẹ̀sì gúrùpù tẹ bá mọ̀ ẹ bá ń ṣíẹ̀sì gúrùpù káàkiri ṣe ti gbọ́ wọ́n wá gbọ́ nǹkan tí ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ayọ̀ tá à ń pa fún wọn tí wọ́n lọ́pọ̀ wọ́n là ń pa a sọ wípé wọ́n fẹ́ sọ Nàìjíríà di Islamic country wọ́n lọ́pọ̀ wọ́n là ń pa àbí ẹ máa pín ẹ lọ pín kàn wọ́n káwọn náà fi tara wọn gbọ́ bíi táwọn aṣọ̀dẹ́ ti fẹ́ pàṣẹ kí wọ́n fi tara wọn gbọ́.
My name is Honorable Abejide. I represent the good people of Yagba Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. Mine is an appeal because of the mood in the House now that this bill be stepped down for when we have all our leaders seated, so that they can also
contribute to the debate. I want to appeal that if you look today now, most of the leaders are on their way to Jigawa State to commiserate with them. Because of the sensitive nature of this bill, my appeal is for us to step it down and let us have a full house and full time to discuss this bill. We cannot rush it. The way we want to rush it, it may not even get the result that we want the bill to achieve. I'm not saying the bill should not go. All I'm saying is that let us have time to discuss it in full. As I'm speaking to you, I have not seen the details of the bill. So, and for us to be able to contribute meaningfully, we need the details of this bill. Without the details of the bill, if you are talking, you are only talking to the air. Maybe it's different from those sections you are quoting in the Constitution. And it may not have any issue to deal with it. Let us have the details of this bill so that we digest it and come back another day for the debate. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues.
No matter how you look at it, our diversity is what defines us. So when issues like this come up, it must be thoroughly looked into and should not be done in a haste. Let me ask you, how many of you have copies of this bill? If you have, I would like to know the percentage of people who have copies of this bill. And you can, if I ask you about one or two paragraphs, you read it for me. If I appoint you now, say, give me 2-3 paragraphs in that bill, and you're able to mention it to us, it means that you have it. Let me ask you, if you know you don't have a copy, and it is the rule of this house that you must have a copy so that you debate from that copy. If you say you have a copy, call in and ask you questions on some of the paragraphs and the sections is referring to, you will not be able to answer it. And this issue is an issue that we need to thoroughly analyze.
Please, order, please.
It is our rule here that issues like this, we must have copies we look at. And if the copies are not there, we'll take another step. But I won't be taking that step in this chair. It will come from the house. So if the majority of the people say they don't have copies of this good or bad, you don't have the copies, you don't have the copies for us to sit on it. Let me hear you, Nkem Kama.
Honorable colleagues, Kama in my name is Speaker, I am from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, this motion is a very sensitive one. This bill is a very sensitive one. And before it can be talked about here or debated, one, I believe that all of us here should have a copy of this bill. Look at it and be able to go through it because of the sensitivity of this particular bill, sir. Mr. Speaker, today, but one thing I'm very sure, I hereby move that this bill...
Please, somebody has the floor. Allow him to finish.
Please.
Then we'll recognize you.
And I have the position of the Speaker. I hereby move that this bill be stepped down today and let it be shared for all of us to have a look at before further action can be taken on this bill. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I represent Anio Federal Constituency. I am a Rivers man. Mr. Speaker, my very distinguished colleagues, recall that just yesterday, I had a bill to alter a section of the Nigerian Constitution as well. And concerns were raised. That portion was crafted, well crafted in the interest of the peace and unity of this country. That argument should be set down. Yesterday, that one
Point of order, sir.
Okay.
ẹ̀yà ọ̀bìnrin yàrá nẹ́tíwọ̀kì ni ọ̀ inú ìdùnnú ọ̀gá tó fanẹ́mìlì fàdé ń síbẹ̀.
Constitution allows for freedom of worship of all religions. Mr.
It's our rule here that issues like this we must have copies we look at. And if the copies are not there, we take another step. But I won't be taking that step from this chair. It will come from the house. So the majority of the people say don't have copies of this, that's good or bad. Don't have the copies. We have the copies for us to deliberate on it. me hear you, Kama.
Mr. Speaker, down. It took just the Speaker signing down that bill. Uncommon interest for the peace, unity of this country. What we did yesterday, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, for that same thing on the unity of this country, the peace, stability, I second this motion since I got into this point that this bill be stepped down for this moment so that I can do a elaborate engagement and get back to it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Move a second. Point of you throw the question open to the House. So we'll vote now.
Point of order, sir.
If please don't order when the Speaker is speaking. Don't order when others are speaking.
Point of order.
So
when
what
there
we'll
is
do?
A point of order, you should take it. Mr. Speaker, point of order. You shouldn't ignore us. Please.
Please. Can you hear Mr. Speaker? Now, the motion here is that it be stepped down. You can say no. If the vote say no, don't step it down. Mr. Speaker has no right to step it down. But the motion has been moved and seconded. If we say
our
no,
laws are very clear, Mr. Speaker. When there is a point of order, who is
speaking?
Please.
No. When we vote and the vote says no, we don't step it down. We vote on the issue raised by the bill. After all, it's a constitutional matter. So go to
being honorary.
We can also vote on it and it will go to constitutional review. You understand? And then if we go to constitutional review, we go back in. So there are so many ways to this problem. Let's not leave our procedure. Okay? So let me ask the question. Those in support that it be stepped down, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. How many they said nay? Let me ask again. Those in support that it be say aye. Aye. Those against, the second time. Say aye. Those against, say nay. Nay!
This one is clear.
The nays have it.
Nàìjíríà wà nínú àwọn ẹtì gbọ̀nyìn ẹ̀yìn wa ẹ̀fọ́ nation òun làwọn fẹ́ orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá òun làwọn nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí Nàìjíríà ti sú wa gbẹ̀kú ní Nàìjíríà bẹ́ẹ̀ nínú Nàìjíríà mọ́ ọmọ èèyàn bí ènìyàn níbẹ̀ ṣé ẹ fẹ́ ká máa bá báyìí ní ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ̀yin bàbá wa àtẹ̀yin màmá wa ṣé ẹ fẹ́ ká máa bá lọ báyìí màá tún ṣe bókẹ́mù láìpẹ́ lórí fọmẹ́nà tá a gbọ́ lórí lẹ́tà táwọn ọba kọ síta ní wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe ní November 7 á pàwọ́ ṣe bókẹ́mù lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa tẹ wá fẹ́ dá sétò tẹ fẹ́ sọ ọ̀tún dì lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn á fi nọ́mbà síta ẹ̀kọ́ nígbà tá a bá sọ bí ọ̀tá wa á gbọ́ òbí náà tẹ̀yìn náà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ní ìbàjẹ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ní ìdúró ẹsẹ̀ ìdúró gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ táwa tó lẹ́ẹ̀kejì ẹlẹ́dàá wọn ò ní gbà fún wọn ẹlẹ́dàá àwọn alẹ́ kò ní fún wọn ṣe gbogbo èwo bá ń gbà lé yorùbá yóò mọ̀ dá lé wọn lórí ní ẹ̀fí wọn sílẹ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ ká gbé fi ẹ̀jẹ̀ ká ọ̀hún ìran yorùbá àkíyèsí ẹrú wọn alágbá ètò náà kò ní jù báyìí lọ o gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ fi ètò mi ní o tẹ̀ fi ń wò mí o bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tẹ̀ fi ń gbọ́ mi etí náà mi di o ọwọ́ tẹ̀mí bá mi pètò yìí kó fi lọ dáadáa ẹni fọwọ́ náà ní fi gbọ́ máa ṣe o èmi ní màá wá èmi ìbíyẹmí tv show ní màá wá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni láṣẹ ìdùnmọ̀ ẹ̀yẹ àmọ́ bá láṣẹ ìdùnmọ̀ rẹ̀ àní. Ella casi tú le. Bueno,